The Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway, 4 of 20. 여러분 안녕하십니까? The Old Man and the Sea, 노인과 바다 20회로 나눠 읽기 네 번째 시간입니다. 슬라이드 12개 화면으로 구성하였습니다. 소설책은 18페이지에서 24페이지까지 7페이지 분량입니다. 업로드 날짜를 지키지 못했습니다. 죄송합니다. 마지막 페이지 119페이지를 향해서 지하철 영어 출발하겠습니다. When they reached the old man's shack, the boy took the rolls of line in a basket and the harpoon and the gaff, and the old man carried the mast with the furled sail on his shoulder. Do you want coffee? The boy asked. We'll put a gear in a boat and then get some. They had coffee from condensed milk cans at an early morning place that served fishermen. How did you sleep, old man? The boy asked. He was waking up now, although it was still hard for him to leave his sleep. Very well, Manolin, the old man said. I feel confident today. So do I, the boy said. Now I must get your sardines and mine and your fresh bait. He brings our gear himself. He never wants anyone to carry anything. We are different, the old man said. I let you carry things when you are 5 years old. I know it, the boy said. I'll be right back. Have another coffee. We have credit here. He walked off, barefooted on the coral rocks to the ice house where the beach was toward. The old man drank his coffee slowly. It was all he would have all day, and he knew that he should take it. For a long time now, eating had bored him, and he never carried lunch. He had a bottle of water in the bow of the skiff, and that was all he needed for the day. The boy was back now with the sardines and the 2 baits wrapped in a newspaper, and they went down the trail to the skiff, feeling the pebbled sand under their feet, and lifted the skiff and slid her into the water. Good luck, old man. Good luck, the old man said. He fitted the rope lashings of the oars onto the thole pins, and leaning forward against the thrust of the blades in the water, he began to row out of the harbor in the dark. There were other boats from the other beaches going out to sea, and the old man heard the dip and push of their oars. Even though he could not see them now, the moon was below the hills. Sometimes someone would speak in a boat, but most of the boats were silent, except for the dip of the oars. They spread apart after they were out of the mouth of the harbor, and each one headed for the part of the ocean where he hoped to find fish. The old man knew he was going far out, and he left the smell of the land behind and rode out into the clean early morning smell of the ocean. He saw the phosphorescence of the Gulf weed in the water as he rode over the part of the ocean that the fishermen called the Great Well, because there was a sudden dip of 700 fathoms where all sorts of fish congregated because of the swirl that the current made against the steep walls of the floor of the ocean. Here there were concentrations of shrimp and bait fish, and sometimes schools of squid in the deepest holes, and these rose close to the surface at night, where all the wandering fish fed on them. In the dark, the old man could feel the morning coming, and as he rode, he heard a trembling sound as flying fish left the water, and the hissing that their stiff set wings made as they soared away in the darkness. He was very fond of flying fish, as they were his principal friends on the ocean. He was sorry for the birds, especially the small, delicate dark terns that were already flying and looking and almost never finding. And he thought, the birds have a harder life than we do, except for the rubber birds and the heavy, strong ones. Why did they make birds so delicate and fine as those sea swallows when the ocean can be so cruel? She's kind and very beautiful, but she can be so cruel, and it comes so suddenly, and such birds that fly, dipping and hunting, with their small sad voices are made too delicately for the sea. He always thought of the sea Es la ma, which is what people call her in Spanish when they love her. Sometimes those who love her say bad things of her, but they are always said as though she were a woman. Some of the younger fishermen, those who used the buoys as floats for their lines and had motorboats, both when the shark rivers had brought much money, spoke of her as Elma, which is masculine. They spoke of her as a contestant or a place or even an enemy. But the old man always thought of her as feminine and as something that gave or withheld great favors. And if she did wild or wicked things, it was because she could not help them. The moon affects her as it does a woman, he thought. He was rowing steadily, and it was no effort for him, since he kept well within his speed, and the surface of the ocean was flat except for the occasional swirls of the current. He was letting the current do a third of the work, and as it started to be light, he saw he was already further out than he had hoped to be at this hour. I walked the deep wells for a week and did nothing, he thought. Today, I'll walk out where the schools of Bonito and Albacore are, and maybe there will be a big one with them. Before it was really light, he had his bait out and was drifting with the current. One bait was down 40 fathoms. The second was at 75, and the third and fourth were down in the blue water at 100 and 125 fathoms. Each bait hung head down with the shank of the hook inside the baitfish, tied and sewed solid, and all the projecting part of the hook, the curve, and the point was covered with fresh sardines. Each sardine was hooked through both eyes so that they made a half-gallon on the projecting steel. There was no part of the hook that a great fish could feel which was not sweet-smelling and good-tasting. The boy had given him 2 fresh small tunas or albacores, which hung on the 2 deepest lines like plummets, and on the others he had a big blue runner and a yellow jack that had been used before, but they were in good condition still, and has the excellent sardines to give them scent and attractiveness. Each line, as thick around as a big pencil, was looped onto a green sapped stick so that any pull or touch on the bait would make the stick deep, and each line had 2 40-fathom coils, which could be made fast to the other spare coils, so that if it were necessary, a fish could take out over 300 fathoms of line. Now the man washed the dip of the 3 sticks over the side of the skiff and rowed gently to keep the lines straight up and down, and at their proper depth. It was quite light, and any moment now the sun would rise. The sun rose thinly from the sea, and the old man could see the other boats, low on the water and well in towards the shore, spread out across the current. Then the sun was brighter, and the glare came on the water, and then, as it rose clear, the flashes sent it back at his eyes, so that it hurt sharply, and he rowed without looking into it. He looked down into the water and watched the lines that went straight down into the dark of the water. He kept them straighter than anyone did, so that at each level in the darkness of the stream, there would be a bait waiting exactly where he wished it to be for any fish that swam there. Others let them drift with the current, and sometimes they were at 60 fathoms when the fisherman thought they were at 100. But he thought, I keep them with precision, only I have no luck anymore. But who knows, maybe today, every day is a new day. It is better to be lucky, but I would rather be exact. Then when luck comes, you are ready.